Howdy guys, just came back from a picking expedition. Come and have a look and see what I just brought home. Look at that. This is a 1927 Indian Scout and it's been in the same family for over 60 years. It is just absolutely lovely, the way I like to find them. Original paint, looks like it's been used. It came with a sidecar, which is also in there, a Goulding sidecar. And I've had a little look. The magneto's hot, and I think I can get this thing running in a couple of kicks. So we're going to drag it out of here, and we'll connect the sidecar up, and then we'll give it a little shot and see whether it'll go or not. Treasure. Right spot, we'll bolt that back on. Okay, now for the bike. Okay, let's marry them back together. They've been together for a long, long time. I mean, I just love the way the bike smells, the way it feels. It's got just, this is where I'm my happiest, underneath one of these old motorbikes. And you can just see the old spider webs and cobwebs. That's all real, nothing Chinese. In rust we trust. All right, now this needs to come up and then in. Rightio, we'll get some tools. So just while I'm bolting this sidecar on, I'll just give you a bit of a background on Indian. Indian, one of the first American motorcycle companies, founded by Oscar Hedstrom and Mr. Hendy, George Hendy, in Springfield, Massachusetts. They were bicycle dealers to start off with, and they made their first motorcycle in 1901, a good 2 years before Harley Davidson. And by 1718, they're the biggest motorcycle company in the world. Absolutely enormous. And this is a Scout. Scouts came about in 1920. Well, they made them at the end of 1919 for the sale year of 1920. And they were very, very close to this. I mean, what you see here is basically what they made in 1920 with a few minor that only the expert eye can pick up differences. The first 1920 model didn't have any lighting. It didn't have a generator. It had an oil pump that was cast into the timing cover, and the kickstarter was bolted to the gearbox. They found that that was a little bit weak, so they mounted the kickstarter to the frame, and the oil pump's a bolt-on item. This one is a 27 model. It has detachable heads. Right up from 20 to 24, they were blind barrels. In 25, they came with detachable barrels, and they saw them through all the way to 27. This is really the last Scout. The very next model, 28 through to 31, was called a 101. Same sort of bike, but now with a front brake. This bike has had an Indian front brake retrofitted to it because obviously with your family in the sidecar tearing down a hill, you want to make sure you're going to be able to stop at the bottom. So very smart move. Somebody fitted an Indian front brake wheel, and now it has two brakes, front and rear. So like I said earlier, I mean, I just love to find them like this. If we can have a look over here, there's a plate, Rogers Bros Melbourne Pty Ltd, 305 Swanson Street, Melbourne. So this was the dealer that sold this bike brand new. It has the original black and white number plates on the bike, AV350, great number. And what was law in Australia, you had to have a front number plate as well, and it also has the front number plate. How you can tell that it's a bike that was sold new in Australia is it has both stands. In America, they only had the rear stand. They didn't come with a front stand. That was law in Australia. So it has a front stand fitted. We might just put this up on the rear stand to start it. Well, we're going to attempt to start it. Now, I'll show you what we do. So this bike hasn't moved, hasn't done anything. It's been a deceased estate for many, many years. The family's kept it as a memento. It's finally time to move it on. They called me. I was very happy to buy it from them. Now, let me show you what we do. So I know it already has some oil somewhere because as we removed it from their living room, we left a trail of oil. Looking in the oil tank, we can see traces of oil on the bottom of the oil tank. It's free of rust. There is some oil in there, and if you feel around the top, there's no rust. It's just oily. That's a really good sign. So the first thing we do is we get our trusty Penrite oil and we just give ourselves probably about a litre of oil in the tank, which is going to be quite sufficient for what we're doing here today, because we're just going to start it. We're not going to take off and ride it right now. It's quite rainy outside, not the right day for it. So that's that done. Now, this has come adrift. This is our decompressor. And when we press this, it lifts the valve, and that's how we stop the engine. So it's very important we have this operating when we start, because if the engine starts and it runs too fast, something's jammed in the carburetor, we need to be able to stop it quite quickly, and this is our way. Okay, so I can see somebody's fitted a tap up here which stops them from wet sumping. This is not an original item, but it's something that people did because these bikes, when left for a long time, the oil from the tank would finish up at the bottom and make a big mess. So, oil's in. Let's put the cap back on. Now, this is an oil pump, and you pull it up like that, it sucks oil into the pump, and then you press it down, and it pumps it into the engine. So you give it a few pumps, so we know it's just priming up there. We know that we're getting oil into the engine. When we get to start this, I'm going to give it some dry kicks. We want the engine to pick up the oil, lubricate all the bearings inside the crankcase before it starts. So we'll leave the fuel tap off. Now we're going to open, a matter of fact, just to do that, let's do it before we put any fuel in, because that'll just ensure that it can't start. So kickstarter out, and we get some great kicks. Now, it's just a note, I've given it a little bit of oil and a little bit of grease on all these moving parts, which were dry. Just the right thing to do. So we give it a good few kicks. Now I'm just going to grab a screwdriver. Okay, so we've just added the oil. Now, before we add petrol, most important, it needs to have a spark to go. Now, these are incredible, these bikes. I've found these bikes and they've been in the garage for 70 years unused. And you can just pull it out and it's got spark. Some of them, friends of mine have had over 100 years old and we fire them up. It's quite incredible. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to just get an ordinary spark plug. Instead of pulling the spark plug out of the engine, we just put that plug on there and we just sit it here where we can see it. Now we'll give the bike a kick. And you can see a beautiful hot spark there. So we know we've got a spark. That's the first thing. All right, we're going to add some fuel. We don't mind getting some on the bike because it makes it look more spectacular when it coughs and catches fire. Now, I've checked the tank inside. It is beautifully clean. There's a little bit of brown smudgy stuff around the opening. I've got in there with a rag, wiped that away, and I'm satisfied that that tank is clean. So we put the cap back on. Okay, here we go. Now we're checking our starter. Our decompressor works. Now, the fuel tap is on. And it all looks good. So we're getting a bit of fuel around the bowl, which satisfies me that fuel is getting there. So Indians have a left-hand throttle. So we're going to operate the throttle with the left hand. And already we've got a problem. The throttle cable is not working very well. So there we are, we're just freeing that up a little. And I've just noticed that the decompressor is, the advanced retarder is not connected. So I've just done it manually down there on the magneto. We have full choke. We're going to give it some throttle. Here we go. Not the first kick. Not the second kick. Not the third kick. Now, you always give Indians 3 kicks to prime them. So they're the priming kicks. Now I've opened the choke. We're on 1 click. Now let's see what happens. This is really the first kick. No. All right, there's definitely something wrong. So we're going to have a look and find out. if the timing's out. Because the timing needs to be right. We've got spark, we've got fuel, we've got oil, and we've got compression. All you need are 4 things. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. We have them all. Now, the timing's got to be right. Oh. All right. That's a good sign. See, as I said, it was going to run away. It's going too quick. We have too much throttle because it's sticky. I just killed it with the valve lifter. I'm going to adjust the throttle. Back to a better speed. Let's go again. Okay. Woohoo! How about that? Now that bike, I don't know how long it's been since it's run, but it's over 30 years, so it's amazing, isn't it, that you can just fire a bike like that up. But anyway, let's have another go. Just like a new one. Have a look at it. Yoo-hoo! And that, gentlemen, is why I love Indians. All right. Anyway, that's what we came here to do. How good's that? That's real. We didn't bullshit. Unless you're prepared to get your hands dirty and your clothes, stick with electric bikes. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Again, you know, getting a beautiful old bike going, it's just what I love to do. We're going to pump up the tyres. We're going to lube the chain. We're going to just do a few bits and pieces here and there just to give it as much love as we possibly can. I'll free the throttle up and we'll get out on the road on it. Okay, thanks for watching. That was fantastic. I love the way that goes. I hope you liked it as well. Remember to like, follow and share, and we'll see you in the next episode. And bye for now.